What's up?
Oh, nothing. I'm making runes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This I've heard of those from RuneScape. Nice.
From
Cool.
RuneScape?
Yeah, have you ever played RuneScape?
I've never played RuneScape.
Oh. That's okay.
End call.
Yeah. Oh. I
I mean,
mostly played it in like second grade because my friend Jaden from school also played it. And so we were like, wait, you play RuneScape? And we would go home and like, when you're like, okay, you get on at like 3:30 and you're like, okay, and then you can find each other in the game and you're only 6 years old, so you don't have each other's phone number. I did
what
that.
was back then? How are you? Oh,
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm great. You can see it right here in the frame. I got a
Yes.
sunrise lamp
Oh, nice.
or to wake myself up
Hmm.
because
Does it work?
well, the thing is I went to bed last night at like 1:30.
Uh,
I had it set for 6:30
uh-huh.
because that's when I usually have to get up during the week. And I thought today was Saturday instead of being Friday, but it's not.
It's not. It's Friday today.
No, so I remember it going off. I'll say that.
Okay.
But I think it'll work better if I actually like go to sleep on time.
Hmm. And then if it's actually Saturday and you really have to get up at 6:30. A
Yeah.
combination of those things. Okay, I get
Yeah,
it.
it'll work in my favor,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Um, hopefully. Allison had one of those. It was like the ring shaped ones, and it makes a different, like there's a bunch of different noises that it can make. And it'll come in like
Yeah.
gradually, the sound of bird song or whatever. Anyway, when we lived together, it was always like the sound of cows. Just
Oh,
like a distant mooing, and then
like a
like a
lowy.
jingling of a cowbell walking past.
That's not the sound I expected you to say,
Hmm.
but I mean, that might be the most calming sound possible because
I
I have
think
mine set
so.
on like ocean waves. But the thing that I hadn't thought about was that in the morning when it goes off, it'll make me feel like I'm in a hurricane.
Uh-huh.
And it
Hmm.
goes, I'm like, I'm in a drown. But I didn't.
But you
I'm
didn't
okay.
drown.
But
Okay.
no, I didn't. I'm okay. It was a close call, but
Hmm.
I think cows would be just so calming.
It was really nice. It was very pleasant, just like a gentle fade in of light and a gentle fade in of like just some lovely cows.
Like they're walking toward you.
Yeah, it was
That's
interesting.
oh.
It wasn't what I like expected because like Maddie and I are both from Idaho, so we're both
Yeah.
very used to the sound of cows. And then Allison's from San Diego, and we are like, what made you choose the sound of cows to wake you up in the morning? Is it because it's like a foreign experience for you?
She'd never heard of a cow actually before
Yeah,
she
she's
left
like,
San Diego.
I thought those were from like children's books. Like they're like fairies or something. That can't be real. Milk comes from soybeans. Like I don't understand what you're talking about.
And I am so glad that I know her and I have her in my life. She's not done much to remove the negative stereotypes I have of San Diegan people.
No, no. Every single day you could hear something about someone from California and be like, "Oh yeah, Allison does that."
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I also have white ones because I wanted to have different colors for my mood. I
Oh,
figured, and in my head when I was making these, I thought they'll help me decide where to go to eat, which I don't go out to eat all that often. So I think that's a really
it's a
odd
very
thing.
specific, like it's a very like niche thing for you to make runes about.
Yeah. I can't explain why.
Like
I
I'm making multicolor runes to help me decide where to eat out once a month when I go out to eat.
I have no like I can't explain to you what goes on in my head, but these are they I made them to kind of look like bones too.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
I wanted them to be like the ones from Stardust.
Hmm, yeah.
Because and then I also wanted to sculpt myself like a little block of ice that I could like toss them in. Turns out ice melts. It's not permanent. Bad idea.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's true.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
just give them a little tub of water to sit in, really. Hmm,
So that's what I've been doing today. That
nice.
and I did my plan for the next week because I don't know how you're doing at this stage in the semester, but I'm falling to pieces. I'm crumbling like a very stale cookie.
Mm,
It's I'm not keeping it together. I just have stopped doing my assignments. I don't
right.
care anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We've all been there. I mean, this week I was like pretty um not like deathly ill, but you know when you're like just sick enough that you're like, I'm not gonna do anything and you can't make me. I was like
yes,
that. And so
because no
I
one's in
was
charge
like,
of you except for you.
which is sometimes a good thing and sometimes less of a good thing. But
Yeah.
I ended up like a day behind in my Arabic class. I had like a vocab quiz and I was like, I know I've seen all these words. I
Does that
couldn't tell you,
count?
you know, I think I passed, but like I didn't get 100% and I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's where I am at. Like not quite the same level of because I've also been there where you're like, I am actively choosing not to do my homework because I don't give it in. But like
Yeah.
this was like a little bit different where I was like, I can catch up. I'm just sick,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So we'll
Yeah,
see.
give yourself a little wiggle room.
Next week, if I don't catch up, shoot me.
I was gonna say I'll put you down.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You do sound a little congested.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. I did like just get out of bed 20 minutes ago. So I haven't really had time to
that
adjust to the
also that
land of the
also
living right now.
Mhm.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of funny because like usually I can give myself a little leeway, like a little I've learned to give myself a little bit of understanding over the
Mhm.
past couple years. I'm like, it's okay. My brain doesn't work right a lot of the
Yeah.
time. Like my executive function's off. It's okay. Like I can I can work in these extra areas to like help myself balance out here.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's not that. I can't even use that as an excuse. I'm actively choosing. I you know what it is? I'm angry
Hmm.
that they're asking me to do work at all.
Right.
Like I
Right.
my
You're
professor
like, I'm
Joel.
paying you.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do I
Like
have to do the work?
I love these professors. But like if it were I don't know, I'm like I'm pissed off. I have to do a reading assessment every Sunday. What the hell is wrong with you?
I
How could
know.
you
It's
ask
like
me to do that?
I'll read it, and
Yeah.
then what? Like, what more do you want from me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing
Every
is 250 words is not a lot,
no,
but it's
that's
too much.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
And
feel
I
yeah.
can't take it anymore.
I think you just need to write like the bare minimum amount of words to still get the meaning across, you know?
Hmm.
And if that's all you can do, just turn that in and you at least get like partial points.
That's
And
true.
if it's like close, you could be like, well, I guess I could elaborate more on this thing, and then you get up to the word count. You know what I mean? It's like a trick to just be like, I'm gonna do the bare minimum. And then sometimes occasionally you can trick yourself into doing the actual requirement. Not always, but sometimes it works.
It's the just touch it technique.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I hate it when that works.
It's like, I'm an adult. This shouldn't this shouldn't be the only way to work.
No. I'm thinking I might need to like find a how-to guide for adults with ADHD because I don't know what I'm doing. I think it's not enough is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
What I'm
yeah.
doing at this moment. Like maybe I need professional help. The
And
thing is,
like,
and I know this will happen if I do buy like a book
uh-huh.
for like good coping strategies and whatnot, I will not read it. I know
Yeah,
that.
I know that also.
Yeah.
Um, the other issue that I have with that is that like they're kind of hard to come by because most of the advice about ADHD is for parents who have ADHD kids.
Children.
So it's like
Yeah.
not really the same, like it's not very useful. Unless I guess you can put yourself in that mindset of like, I have to parent myself. Like maybe that would work. But I do think that for the most part, most of the like ADHD strategies for adults that people have, it's just from people with ADHD who didn't have any resources and they had to trick themselves into making stuff work. So it's still
Yeah.
it's still going to be the same thing where it's like
It's just
because I'm an
like a
adult, I
hack.
have to figure this out by myself.
Mhm.
And then, maybe it'll help somebody else, but it'll still just ultimately be the same thing. Like you read what works for somebody else, you try it out, you're like, well, that didn't work. Now I still have to figure out something else by myself.
Yeah. Because I heard someone said every single day when they wake up, they make their bed. That's like the start to their
Okay,
day.
but
And
that's like
nothing makes me angrier than that bit of advice.
it's not good advice because like every day when I wake up, I like to give myself a little bit of extra time to hang out in my cozy bed before I have to do anything. Right? If the first thing that I do when I wake up is get out of bed and make my bed, I'm gonna be miserable for the rest of the day. Why did I get out of bed? I didn't have to do that. I don't understand this mentality of people who like wake up and because they're awake, they have to not be in bed anymore. What's
That
wrong
is
with
so
you?
good. That is cozy and warm.
And you're
I,
you're awake, so you get to appreciate it. Like I don't understand this
yeah.
like need to get out of bed immediately. Like, and it'll even
No.
happen like sometimes we'll have my extended family over in the morning and I just come upstairs like whenever, and it's always that like, oh wow, you can sleep through anything. Like, look who's finally awake. It's like I've been awake for hours.
You need a minute
I
to
just
like
haven't
just
been
be.
up here. Like, why would I come up here and talk to y'all immediately after waking up? I have to do my
Yeah.
own thing in my own space. It's the morning. Like,
Yeah.
hello?
Otherwise, I get so overwhelmed
Mhm.
immediately. Like,
If the first thing
especially
that
in
you
that
do in the
situation with like
morning
a lot
is
of
get out of bed, make your bed, walk upstairs, and like your family is over, it's like, okay, like when do I get to process the fact that I'm a person? Like I haven't had time to do that.
maybe never.
Yeah.
What I do in the morning is I've got that Pokemon Sleep app that I adore. I kind of downloaded it as like maybe this will work, but it has been one of the best things that I've ever done for myself in my life.
Hmm.
Because
That's
I
nice.
I have to go to bed on time because then my people will be tired. My little Pokemon helpers will be tired if I don't. If I
Oh.
don't get enough sleep, then they don't get enough sleep. So I have to take care of them.
Oh, I see. I see.
And then when I wake up, that's just the first thing I do. Because I don't have any social media, but being on your phone is a great way to help yourself wake up and just be in bed.
Hmm.
Which is why I don't have it, because I would do that at night and then I wouldn't sleep, because it's a good way to wake your brain up. But
Yeah,
I do
yeah,
it in the
yeah.
morning,
Yeah.
and instead of scrolling, I just you have to feed your Pokemon. You've got to take care of them. You've got to catalog the ones that you discovered in your sleep, and like it takes about 15 minutes, and it's the perfect amount of time. It's like brilliant. It's magnificent. I love it. I'm not sponsored by them, but I should be.
Hey, Pokemon Sleep, if you're listening. Yes, we only have 12 subscribers, but please give us a sponsorship deal right now.
Are two of them us individually? Maybe, but that's still 12.
Yeah, that's why I said 12 instead of 14.
Oh,
A technical number, but nah. That's just me on another account, baby.
that's also where a majority of our views come from.
That's true. Yeah, because we have to watch them in YouTube Editor before they're posted.
Yes.
There are some that like are scheduled in December that already have 7 views.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm always really excited when I'm on my personal account and one of ours uploads. And then I'm disappointed again because it's one I've watched 5 times.
Like, why do they never post anything new? These guys really fell off. They just post the same episode 7 times. Yeah,
I got
I
myself a
get
haircut
that.
yesterday. Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
I was jumping subjects. I gave myself a haircut yesterday. That's all.
oh, nice. Did it go well? Or is that why your hair's up?
It actually went better than I thought it would. I get hairdressers now. For the longest time, I'm like, if I say cut off like an inch, just cut off an inch. But
It has to be an
somehow,
equal inch around the entire your entire head.
yeah, and it
Yeah.
gets. I don't know. I felt like I cut off an inch, and it felt much, much, much shorter than it was before. And I liked it. I liked the end result, so that was good.
Nice, that's good.
Um, and it's also easier because my hair's like, curly hair hides the length mistakes better. So as
Yes,
long as it
yes,
just looks
that's true.
approximately the same, then you're okay.
My
But
only like the only downside to that for me is like occasionally I'll be like, maybe I'll straighten my hair today, and then I'm like, wait, when was the last time I cut it? Because it may not have grown out even yet. Not that
yeah,
I mean I straighten my hair like twice a year, so it's like not that big a deal, but still.
yeah,
I always want to do it like the week after I've cut my hair because I'm like in the headspace of like changing
of
my hair, you
hair.
know?
Yeah,
The bad call.
yeah. I've been the thing. Okay, so with hair, I want to dye mine every now
Hmm.
and then, but with like my hair's dark enough that any color really, I would need to lift it first in order to
Hmm.
have the color show up. And I don't ever want to bleach my hair again. It ruined it. It took years. And that was like with professional, you know?
Right, right.
So
So
I'm
you don't
stuck
want
in
to
this.
risk doing it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, exactly. I can cut my hair myself, but heaven forbid, I would never bleach it.
Hmm.
That's scary.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what
Um,
can you do?
yeah.
Yearn.
Yeah. You could just wish you could buy wigs.
I could buy wigs.
Hmm.
Yeah. What were you gonna say? I cut you off before.
Um, it was just about it was going back to like the Pokemon sleep thing and how you
Oh,
can trick yourself into doing nice things for you when you think that you're doing it for somebody else. It's like how it's so hard to like if you just had to like your one task for the day is like organize your room. You're like, I'm simply not going to do that. But if your one
yeah,
task for the day is like, oh, you have a friend who needs help, you can organize their room. It's like, of course you're immediately going to do that. Like
absolutely.
there's
Yeah.
some like whatever block you have in like executive function disappears when you're doing something for somebody else. So I think like the Pokemon Sleep app, that's like a good trick to like get yourself to like have healthier habits, right? Because you're like, well, if I don't sleep, then they don't sleep. I can't do
Yeah.
that to them. So I think in talking about different ways to like encourage adults with ADHD to be able to do things and like function like normal, maybe if there's some way to turn your homework or like your other tasks into something that like benefits somebody else, I think that would be more encouraging to get you to do it. I can't think of when it would be though.
Well, one thought that like when you were here this weekend and
Mhm.
you were just sitting it while I was doing my laundry. It's like I have to get my room cleaned up because I don't want I guess staying here with filth everywhere. Or like they have to
Yeah.
climb over the huge pile of laundry that hasn't been done in weeks. So if I do it then like maybe what I could do because I have like a girls' night every week.
Mhm.
Um and usually it's just my friend Grace that comes. But it's fun because we're both girls and it's that night, so it
Oh,
still
so it
works.
works out.
It does
Yeah,
exactly.
no,
So
that totally makes
usually
sense.
just we just sit in the living room, but maybe what I'll do is make her come back to my room and sit while I do things. So I don't feel embarrassed that she's in my messy room, but I have to clean it
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
she's in here,
So then it's like
and
so
I can't just hide
she's
in
in
the
your
living
room,
room.
but it's not embarrassing because it's becoming less messy because she's there.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, it's a good
maybe this
call.
will work.
That's also why it works to have like a study buddy, you know? Like even if you're
That's
not
true.
studying the same thing, just to have some kind of like it's almost like a parallel play where like you're in the same space and you're
Yes.
doing your own thing, but you're kind of doing it together because you're in the same space.
Yeah, yeah.
It works.
It really does.
It
And
really
that's
is like taking care of a 5-year-old, you know?
yeah.
Let's engage in some parallel play. So maybe you should buy
That's
an ADHD parenting book.
maybe that could work. Maybe it'll be good too because I have a feeling and it's not confirmed, but I have a feeling that any children I have are going to be like me. I have a feeling what
Like
happened to
me,
my mom.
derogatory.
Yeah. My mom had children. She had two children. Neither of
Yes.
them are as functioning as her.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
my dad got mixed in the equation and gave us both ADHD
Yeah.
so bad. And so, my mom ended up with children opposite her. And I don't think that'll happen to me. I'm not
Right.
optimistic.
The thing is that, like, it's less likely to happen, you know? It's less something that skips a generation and more something that, like, the greater number of people in your family that have it, the more likely you are to also have it.
Uh-huh.
So because, like, you and your dad and your brother have it, your kids are more likely to have it.
I did the math once. It's 50% if you have a parent with it,
Yeah.
and a 25% chance if you have a sibling with it.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how percentages work, but my rudimentary understanding tells me that I have a 75% chance of having children with ADHD.
Hmm. And but the thing is, like, if your first child has ADHD, you know, they hit the 75% chance, then all of the other kids now have not only a parent, like a parent with it and a sibling with it, right? So I feel
And
like
a
it
sibling.
increases the chances every time.
Oh no!
Yeah, and
All
this is
6 of
why,
my
you know, when
children.
people say like, oh, everybody has ADHD these days, and like people kind of think maybe you're making it up, or I think it's first of all, people are more aware of it, and second of all,
Hmm.
people are more likely to have it now because of past generations where it was less common and it became more common and more common and more common. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's not
Hmm.
just like
Hmm.
it's not something people do for fun. It's debilitating.
No, believe me, if I could choose to not, I would.
Yeah.
The
It's
hyperfixation's great. Sure, I get stuff done. I can be creative on occasion. Is it
mhm.
worth it? No.
Because the
I'd like to
thing
have clean
is,
clothes.
people whose brains work can also focus on things and be creative, but they can choose better when to do it,
Yeah.
you know? Like it's less of like a
Well,
life is hard.
it so is.
So how many for the like your
Mm,
theories, how many are there? Or how many do you
right.
have to do? Or want to do,
Um,
I mean.
I was thinking my initial thought was I could do 4 because Kevin John said 4 or 5.
Mm. So if you do
So,
four, that's 4 or 5, but it's you don't have to do all of them.
no.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I was thinking 4 because
Cool.
that would do like 1 a month for a little while.
About 4 months.
That adds up. I was trying to figure out which month it would be because I said March and I was
Mhm.
like, no, we're in October. Wouldn't be March. But we're not in October, we're in November.
We're in November, so if we do
And so it wouldn't
one
be March
this
anyway.
month, we would end in February.
Hmm.
But
That's true. Hmm.
that's done by March.
That's a good point.
If you
Yeah.
end in February, you're done by March. So I think it's still you're still right on there.
Well, my thought was I could go through and just list the theories, and then if you had any movies that popped up, then that could contribute to your 10, and then we could just write them down and put them in a cute little container.
Hmm.
And that's that done.
That works for me. I could even
Okay.
just do 8 because that is better with 4.
2 each.
Hmm.
That's good.
That way,
Uh-huh.
yeah, for any topic that we have, I can draw 1 or 2 movies.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great to me. I think actually what I might do, I might move to my chair so I can get cozy while we do this. Because
Hmm.
I'm a fan of crafts, but more more importantly, I'm a fan of comfort.
Yeah. I've always known that about you. I think I need to go get some stuff so I can write down the thing. So let's meet back here in a minute. Hello.
Hello.
What's up? This is nice. It's like
Let's
starting
see.
an entirely new episode right now.
Hi, and welcome to Women in. Actually, we didn't do that before.
No, we definitely didn't. It felt like more off the clock hours anyway.
It definitely did. I mean, we're not talking about a movie specifically anyway, so.
Yeah. Well, so I have this lovely yellow paper
Oh,
with
pretty.
8 sections on it, and I have markers so that they can each be a different color, even though they're all yellow paper.
Oh, that's fun. I have my two fallbacks. I have a blue Bic pen and I have this lovely one that it's like kind of a calligraphy type. I mean it's just got like a felt tip.
Oh yeah,
It's so pretty.
that's
I love
nice.
it.
So do you wanna talk through the like categories, like the different?
Yes, and that's kind of I'm looking at some right now to see we have like a list of the theories.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going through and figuring out which ones were my favorite ones to talk about.
How many are there, like total?
I mean, it's kind of hard to break down because we've talked about a couple different theories, but we've also talked about a couple different studies that, like, you know, they showed their findings, but it wasn't classified as like an official theory.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just kind of finding, I'm just filtering through. And I could have done this earlier.
That's
Didn't,
true.
though.
Oh well.
And the problem is, too, is the lectures are done via like video rather
Uh-huh.
than like written down,
Right.
which is nice, but it also means that I can't just like quickly browse through. Okay, I have a few. I'm gonna read them off to you. You tell me which ones sound the most interesting.
Deal.
Okay. The two-step flow theory, the limited effects theory, the magic bullet theory, the theory of uses and gratifications, and the catharsis hypothesis.
Um, would I basically just have to eliminate one of them?
And the excitation theory. I forgot about that one.
That's the one that you were saying yesterday.
Mhm. Well, I could also just write down all of them. And then,
That's true. And then, oh yeah, because that was kind of our thing that we would, you have all of these prepared, but then you only have to do 4 of them because you just draw.
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Cool.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's do that then.
I agree.
I'm doing like a final essay
Hmm.
in one of my classes, and I'm gonna like look into media literacy in today,
Hmm.
like especially like the rising generations. Like, has it increased or decreased? How do you test that? Like, has there been certain media that has exacerbated the effects?
Hmm. Um, I was reading, I don't know if I've told you about this already, but I was reading this article about how like um children haven't been taught how to read phonetically and how it has like
Really?
completely destroyed their ability to read. Because like
Really?
the example was like if you're with like a young child who's like barely beginning to read and they have like a it's like one word per page, like cardboard picture book basically.
Yeah.
And they see like, oh, this is something that flies and it starts with a B, and they're not taught to look through the word and phonetically pronounce it. They will assume it's a bird and turn the page and never know that it was a
Really?
butterfly. So this is how like, and then this goes on into like public school, like junior high and high school kids are just taught to like look at the beginning of the word and use their best guess as to what the word would be and then move on instead of checking to see if it's correct. Like it's not using context clues to figure out what a word means if you've never heard it before. It's like using context clues to figure out what the word could be at all and then not checking. So a lot of people like assume that they know what they're reading, but they don't actually recognize these words. Like they couldn't pick apart this word and tell you what it means because they're not learning how to read phonetically.
That doesn't even make any sense to me. Why
I
would that be
know.
what they're taught?
I don't know, but it was some like push that somebody did, and so then they tried it out and then it completely backfired. So this article was like explaining why learning to read English phonetically is still the best way to learn, and you're kind of screwing kids over by not allowing them to figure out what words mean on their own and really pick them apart. So like
But
an
yeah,
entire generation of kids, if they don't have an opportunity to like relearn what they've been taught, will live the entire rest of their life thinking that a butterfly is a bird.
that is just
Literally is this
heartbreaking.
a pigeon meme, but like in real life.
That's because that's the opposite of what how I was taught to read. Is I
Yeah.
remember distinctly, I have this memory of being in kindergarten, I think, and reading like it was a book about a spider. And I was reading it and I was like, the spider is angry. She's so angry, yada da da da. And I went through the whole book and I'm like, that doesn't really make sense. And I remember like asking my teacher about it, and she was like, okay, so yeah, that's the word is hungry. But I saw the GRY and just assumed, and this went through the whole book reading it like that. And like I remember her like teaching me how to do it the right way and say like, okay, you got to do it a little bit slow, like just break it down slowly. Like don't just assume you're right. I distinctly remember her telling me that. I like that is mind-boggling to me. Why would anyone think that that would be like we're going backwards? I
I
don't
think it's like
understand even the
it's more
logic.
efficient, and people don't give a shit about people's like children's actual mental development. They just care about efficiency. I think that's the issue. I think I have the article bookmarked for you, but it was crazy. It was like literally what is going on right now.
It makes me so angry.
Yeah.
Not hungry. Yikes.
Yeah,
Yikes.
crazy. So anyway, I think that's a good like topic to get into. Because in a lot of ways, I think like media literacy, you'd think because it's more widely accessible that people will be more literate, but I think in a lot of cases it's not true
It's the
because we
opposite.
take too many shortcuts.
Yeah, absolutely. Too many shortcuts, and because there's just so much information available. Like
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, information is available, but which ones are you looking at? And how do you know to how to discern like which one's right and which one's wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
What's like the media you consume telling you? There's also and this is a little unrelated, but I remember seeing, I think it was a tweet or a post or something, where someone was irritated at the use of the word like a consumer in terms of media,
Uh-huh.
because they're like, you're not consuming media, you're not eating it, you're not like taking it like into you. And I wholeheartedly disagree. I don't, I think that it's irresponsible to say that the media you intake doesn't affect you in some way or another, because
Yeah.
there's no other word for what you do with media. You take it in, like you take it in, you consume
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Not physically
And it's
maybe, but like
supposed
your
to be,
brain is processing it. It's going through you.
yeah.
You absolutely are consuming it. You're intaking it. And I genuinely think it's impossible to be completely unaffected by that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's so stupid. Like that's such a
They
bad faith
and it was
interpretation of
awful.
what's going on. Like
Their
consuming does
criticism,
not have to be a physical consuming, and it tells me that you're illiterate to think that that's
yeah,
the only meaning of the word consume. Like what else would be happening? The reason that it's such an issue is that it is so ingrained into people's minds. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
media affects people so strongly that it's like having like non-educational like kids shows is actually detrimental to children's development, and people don't realize
yeah,
this because it's such new, like it's new technology, it's such a like new thing for kids to like know what YouTube is, that we can't understand the repercussions yet. But from what we
yeah,
have seen, like it's
bad.
actually very bad for people, to have so much of this all the time because it is going into you.
Yes, absolutely. They're like the origin of the complaint was something like there's like a Christian fundamentalist aspect of our culture that, and like there are a few
Okay.
of those criticisms that I think are absolutely fair, but this one I was like, you are you're blaming entirely the wrong thing for this,
Mm-hmm.
and you're drawing entirely the wrong conclusion. Like it was the worst critical thinking I've ever seen. It was awful. I was so pissed off about it. Like people try so hard to be smart online that it just
Yeah.
totally backfires. It's like
You're really just like showing me your like incompetence, your lack of
yeah,
information, your lack of education.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You were totally the kind of kid that thought the curtains are just blue.
Mm-hmm. I literally had like, you know, some nights it's like 1 a.m. and you're like seething about something.
Yeah.
I've taken to the past couple months just actually writing down what I'm doing because a lot of the time, like I have like a
Hmm.
rant that's like actually really eloquent. I'm like, man, I wish I could ever possibly replicate that, you know? Anyway, I've started like writing them down, and one of them was about um that like about media literacy and like specifically the phrase the curtains are blue. And I was
Mm,
like, okay, like this is overkill, and I know that it is, but just once, just occasionally, like actually analyze each word in that phrase. You know what I mean? Like it's not like every time you see a definite article, you should be like, now what does that really mean, you know? But in the case of the curtains are blue, think about the curtains, right? Like why does it matter that it's those curtains? And not just any like general curtains. It's not like all curtains are blue. It's like the curtains are blue, these ones. Why does
hmm
that matter? Like, why does it matter that they're curtains? Is this a stylistic choice? Is there a deeper meaning? Like, what does it mean to the character to have curtains? You know what I mean? Just go
hmm
through like literally, it's only 4 words, one noun, one adjective, and verb in an article, right?
hmm
Like, you don't have to do this with every single sentence you read, or you'll never actually read anything. But just
Right.
occasionally, like to understand like that there is actually a deeper meaning to this. Like look at the individual words. What do those mean? And why does it matter that they're put together in this way? Like maybe the curtains
Yeah.
are just blue, or maybe it actually means something.
Yeah, but you're never gonna
What's
know if you
being
just take it at
said
face value.
exactly? What's being said? What isn't being said? And why is that important?
Mhm. Absolutely.
I wrote like literally this whole thing is just about the curtains are blue. I was pissed.
I love that. Tear the bitch apart.
Yeah, exactly. I did two. I did three this morning.
Wow, you're
Yeah,
busy.
yeah. One of them was about is this a pigeon? Like phonics still being the best way to learn that we've already talked about. So
Mhm.
I was right on.
Okay, 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
What's the third one?
Oh, it was about how people are so afraid of being labeled as extreme, like politically extreme by other people that they know, that they refuse to take a side even when there's like a clearly morally correct choice to make.
Mhm.
And more specifically, this fear of not being an extremist actually leads to a much more extreme standing, right? By refusing to pick sides, you're showing a lack of concern for people's lives, which feels much more extreme to me than just like taking a stand for something despite what people you know might say about you. That was kind of the point.
Like fence sitting is cowardice, and like it is morally blameworthy if you're in a situation where like 10,000 innocent people, almost half of whom are children, have been killed in 1 month. And you say, well, this is a really complicated issue. Like, I don't want to get involved. I don't know enough about it. I don't want to get
It is
involved.
complicated,
It is complicated, but
but
like, should 10,000 innocent people, almost half of whom are children, have died in 1 month? No. And to claim ignorance and to say, like, well, I don't want to pick sides, like, is
There-
morally blameworthy, I think.
There are no sides to pick. There's just one.
Like
It's just like,
you can choose to like defend and support like people who are being abused and murdered or not. Those are your options. So if you say that you're not picking sides, you have picked the side of the oppressor. That's just how it works. There's no neutral ground here. Like Elie Wiesel
Yeah.
didn't write multiple books about the danger of being a bystander for nothing.
yeah,
You
not
know?
making a choice is still making a choice.
Exactly. It's just making the wrong one.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we're 3 for 3. That's what I was thinking about this morning.
And if we've said it once, we said it 1,000 times. Put us in charge.
Exactly. Think how much better things would be.
We've got phonics, we've got politics, and we've got media literacy.
Mhm.
The only 3 subjects at all, as far as I'm concerned.
At all, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna pick some movies and write them down on my paper.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Okay. How fun.
Thanks, you too. Good luck. I hope everything
Thanks.
goes well for you.
Yeah.
I had
I
a dream
really
last
hope I
night.
know how to spell all these. You had a dream last night.
I did have a dream last night. It was my mom was a scientific researcher in the Arctic, and
Oh,
so I decided to go and visit her, but we had to swim almost everywhere.
in the Arctic.
So they had like 10 different like island research labs set up, and we had to go and like check each of them. And so we were just kind of swimming, and I remember being petrified. I was so scared in this dream that sharks would get me or orcas would get me, because
Which is a
like
valid concern, like never mind the
absolutely.
fact that you would absolutely freeze to death.
Well, we were wearing wetsuits. And even still, but that concern was like I wasn't as worried about that one in my dream. We
Right.
had insulation. We're good.
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. Well, because
But
that's
I
how they do
remember,
it in the Arctic research team. So, like, what would you
yeah,
have to worry about?
swim.
They're the experts. Yeah.
Exactly. And my mom, we had made it to one, and it had broken down. The energy wasn't running. It was just kind of falling apart. And we were like, okay, we got to get to the next one because we got to get some people back here and like either break it down or help fix it up.
Mhm.
But right at that moment, like a really bad windstorm started happening, and so waves started coming in like crazy. And so we're like, okay, so we're not gonna swim, but what we do have is we have a little canoe or like a kayak. And my mom was like waiting in the kayak for me, and I remember I was gripping the doorpost
Uh-huh.
leading to the exit because I was so because the whole thing was because we were on an island, so we are just like rocking with the waves, and I was gripping
Right.
because I was like, I can't walk on this, I'm gonna fall in. And at that time, we'd taken off our wetsuits because we're boating to the next one. We're not swimming
Right.
anymore.
Right.
And I was like, Mom, that's so dangerous. You gotta get out of the boat. There's no way we can like paddle across these waves. It's awful. And there were like 4 or 5 that just like came up over the top of her and just like and she would like pop up again and be fine. She's like, come on, we gotta go. I'm like, no, we'll wait out the windstorm. And I don't know why she wouldn't get out of the boat, but she just kept getting like whoosh. And I remember there was a a huge what's walrus seal. Huge walrus seal.
Uh-huh.
No, not walrus seal. Leopard seal. The scary ones.
Yes. Although
Like,
really, like if I was just in the wild and I saw a walrus, I would also probably be a little bit scared.
oh yeah,
Assuming I'm afraid of animals, you know?
large ones.
I live next to Yellowstone. I can't help it. I'm afraid of animals.
You have a healthy fear,
Hmm.
as you should.
I love to live, you know?
Anyway, it was just really scary.
That is
And
scary.
I was really afraid. I also had to run a restaurant. I got hired and he was like, okay, you gotta start coming in at 5 in the morning. I
At
was
the
like, but
same
why?
time,
Yeah,
like, ugh.
yeah.
I mean, I'm no expert in dream interpretation, but I might say that you're a little bit stressed out about responsibilities. And also that you
Maybe.
might be a little bit frustrated that nobody will listen to you, even though like you're trying to help them or you're doing something that is like obviously right.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so smart.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point of this podcast, is to just
Spread
emphasize that point
awareness.
again and again. That I am so smart.
Yeah. If I wasn't smart, they wouldn't allow me to have a podcast. That has to be true. It isn't true, by the way. A lot of really dumbass people have podcasts. Just for anybody who was wondering. Not us, you can trust us.
Real doctors.
Real doctors that you can trust.
I'm gonna put up a doctorate right here at some point.
Just a framed like piece of printer paper that says doctorate on it. It doesn't need to be more specific than that. Doesn't have to have your
No.
name. Just be like, I literally have a doctorate. Doctorate. Like just the word doctorate.
That's so funny. I should also put up, you know how oh, I love it when like movies, TV shows do this, when they like have a picture of a character on the wall, like going like, and then they like back up and you see that the character is just like at
The
their desk
character
also
also
making the
sits
exact
like
same
that.
face.
Oh, that's so good.
They do it a
I
couple
love
times
it
in
when
IT
people do
Crowd.
that.
They
Yeah.
do it in Airplane.
Oh,
Like
the
it's the
IT
funniest trope
Crowd.
in the world.
What a
It's so
good,
funny.
what a good show, the IT
It's
Crowd.
so good.
Hilarious.
I need to rewatch it. It just is. It's so funny.
Yeah, it is. Well, just so you know, if you have a day that you're not super sick, but just sick enough that you don't want to do anything, there are few enough episodes of Man Like Mobian that you can watch all of it in one day.
Oh, is this the one that
It'll
you?
be fine.
So that's
The one that I
you were
watched all
talking
in
about.
one day.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's why it's on my mind. I have a list also in my notes app, of course, my beloved notes app, of just like influential movies for me personally, so that I always
That's
can remember
smart.
them. And I have like a going list. If there's something that really impacts me, I can add it, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, perfect. I'll look at these and then it will help me decide which ones to put on my cards. But the issue is that now there are so many good ones.
Well, you can just put all of them in.
Yeah, I don't have to have only 8 options. I can have 35.
That's what, because I mean, if I'm putting more than what I need in theories, then
This is true. I could have a second paper of a different color.
yeah, it just gives you a really good selection.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I will.
I didn't get much sleep last night, but I did take my medication today. I just don't know why I still feel so sleepy.
Mm,
I feel like I should take a nap, but I want to go to work.
I don't know.
Life's like so hard.
Life is really hard. I feel sleepy 100% of the time, so I just don't feel like I can help you. I might not be the right person to ask, you know?
Have you tried cocaine?
No, I've heard. You know, I've heard of it.
Part of me, like, look, 100% of me, 99% of me is so certain that, because I'm a very addictive person, I get addicted to things very, very easily because of how my brain can't executive function. So I know 100% that any hard drug I'd overdose within 3 days. I know that. The other 1% is like, but what if it works?
What if I'm tough, actually?
Yeah.
What if I'd be fun?
What if I can handle it?
Yeah.
What if it's just a cocaine
What if I'm
habit?
not a freaking stupid lightweight like you and I could do it? I could conquer cocaine.
I just grow out that pinky fingernail like Carrie Fisher did and just like, you know, little bit.
Easy. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
It's not an addiction, it's just a habit.
Don't do drugs. This
Don't
is,
do
for legal
drugs.
purposes, a joke. Don't. To our young viewers.
I my cousin Aaron of My Cousin Aaron fame.
I know him. He's got green
When
eyes.
he was in high school, when he was a senior in high school, they had like a campaign for drug abuse awareness or whatever. So he like went in for morning announcements. He went into the office and played an original song that he made. And he is a musician, but he was kind of like taking the piss a little bit. So he like I don't remember the verses because I was in fact 9 years old. But I do remember the court. He would say like, give an example of a drug, and then like some examples of bad things that can happen to you in the verses. And in the chorus, he would say, "So don't do drugs," and it's really stuck in my mind. And now, anytime somebody says the phrase "don't do drugs," in my mind, it's My Cousin Aaron. So don't do drugs.
That's
Don't
legendary.
do drugs. I think like the way he wrote it, he thought it would be funny if it sounded like the kind of thing that a person was on drugs would sing.
Would write.
Yeah.
Amazing. He's an artist.
Yeah. He's so funny.
Oh, I have two things.
Okay.
I think that they should do like a heavy metal cover of the Dare song. I won't do drugs, and won't have an attitude. Or I will respect myself. I will educate me now.
Stupidest sentence in the world.
Don't even, yeah.
I will educate me. Do it first and then write the song. I don't know. I don't know why you're illiterate right now.
Word that you could think of? Nothing? Anyway.
I will educate me. It stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. Or I will respect myself. Great, but that's like literally not what it stands for.
No, so you didn't have to use the word education.
Yeah, there's you can change, since you already changed attitude and respect myself. You can change the E as well. You don't have to say E, I will educate me.
There are no rules.
Shut up.
Educate me. No wonder the Dare program failed. And this is completely unrelated, but maybe you can help me because I've had this phrase rattling around in my noggin for the past couple of days and I just can't place it. It's he's an artist with a fist. No idea. Damn.
Unfortunately, it's not a phrase that was coined about My Cousin Aaron, so I can't help you.
Oh no. It's not even the one who did the air fryer joke either.
Something?
I don't know. I can't find it. It's not coming up when I Google it. So I don't know if it's just some. I feel like I watched it on something, but maybe it's just like, I don't know, maybe it's like on YouTube, or maybe it was just something dumb a friend said. I don't know, but I guess there's
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Did you?
Immediately, first thing that came up.
I looked for like 10 minutes. You even looked that up on Tumblr. That's
I looked it up. No. I looked it up on google.com on my Firefox browser, but it was the first thing that came up was a link to Tumblr. Imagine looking something up on Tumblr and finding it. That would actually be legendary, dude. It has the worst search feature of probably all time. What did you search?
He's an artist with a fist. Look at that. That's the top of the results.
Weird. Yeah, I just got the GIF that goes to, it just goes to Tumblr and like says where it's from.
Is Janet Fish married? What country? Who's Janet Fish?
I don't know. Is she married?
Well, let's see. Oh, she's dead.
Oh.
She had 2 short-lived marriages.
Well, good for her, I guess. I mean, rest in peace. I don't know who that is.
I'm so angry. Google just likes you better than it likes me. That does make sense though. That
Yeah, because that is a phrase that would stick in your head, but that not a lot of people know about because our generation, kids these days just don't watch Mystery Science Theater 3000 like they used to.
no, they really don't.
That's what's wrong with the world today.
There are also benefits to it because sometimes I can use jokes from it that I know no one else has heard of. And then I look really funny.
Mhm. Nice. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you. Okay. I think I'm gonna do 8 because I had to narrow down by like things that I can actually analyze because I know them well and because there's like some real depth to them, you know? So I think I've done it. I think I'm gonna stick with 8.
Okay. 8 sounds perfect. Okay, I have a lot of them written down at least.
Okay.
So I think I'll go through and pick. I think I'll probably do maybe 7.
Okay. Nice. Then we can pick 4 or 5
Mm-hmm.
so you can fit your requirement.
Exactly. This is gonna be the easy. Okay, I need to complain about this for a second as well
Okay.
because this has been the hardest I've had to work in a really long time to get anything done. And for once, I feel like it's not my fault that
Mhm.
things go so because usually I'm like, okay, so I've missed deadlines or like I forgot who to talk to or all this stuff.
Mhm.
But when I talked to Kevin John about this, he said, okay, so what you do is you go up to the office, which is the floor above his. So you walk up there, you ask for a contract for your mentored research project, and then we sign it, and then you give it back to them, and that's that done. And so I was like, okay,
Okay.
perfect, that's so easy. So
Yeah.
I went up there, and she's like, no, the girl at the desk was like, no, I don't know anything about that. You'll have to talk to a comms, like, uh not mentor, what's the word I'm looking for, advisor. You'll have to talk to an advisor about this. And so, and I told you this, I emailed 2 advisors
Yeah.
because I walked down to their office, which is on the 2nd floor, and knocked on both of their doors. Neither of them were in, so I emailed both of them, and both emailed me saying that they had accepted different jobs on campus and were no longer working as advisors. And so I went on the BYU's website and looked up their advisors that they had listed. But the thing is, they don't list like major specific advisors. They listed advisors for if you are undecided and you need to pick a major,
Right.
or what to do when you're trying to graduate. And so I tried to email them, and none of the emails were valid. So that was fantastic. But I looked through the Com Studies website specifically to try to figure out what to do there. And it said exactly what Kevin John told me to do. I was like, okay, so it shouldn't be this hard. So I decided, I was like, okay, whatever. This took me like 2 days. So I went back up to the office. I was like, look, I just need a contract. I can't get in touch with any advisors. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't find any good information about it. I know I need a contract. She had never ever heard of what I was trying to find. I was in there for a half hour, just like showing her the requirements that was on my like transcript, showing her like the messages. Like, I was like, I shouldn't know more about this than you. And I really don't, but we have the same amount of knowledge, and that's a concern as well. Like,
Right.
this is your job. You work in the Com Studies like office.
Yeah,
Like,
she's kind of
it,
supposed to know the ins and outs of the
yeah.
department.
Well, and part of the problem is because they it's like the reception area, and so they rotate out different students to be the receptionist there, which
That seems like a bad call if you're not going to train them on what the
yes,
department
because I've
actually does.
talked to 4 different ones and none of them know what I'm talking about. And I have to explain it starting over every single time. So I had to go and explain to her. And after a half hour, she went through, and I could see the tab. She opened like the drawer, right? And was kind of thumbing through it, and I could see it says
Like it's that one.
project comma research. I was
Which
like,
is
is it that
short
one?
for research project.
Could be, could be. Maybe.
Okay.
We don't
Okay.
know. She wouldn't look at it. She's like, no, that's not it. I know it's not it. And we were looking for like 20
You
minutes.
don't know it's not it.
Look, how about?
You don't know. You just
Yeah.
got here. You don't know what the department is. Okay. That's
And
frustrating.
yeah, well, we finally looked at it, and guess what? That's where it was. Yeah,
Whoa.
and the thing is that was funny to me is she didn't even admit that it was there and I was right and I could see it. She was like, oh, it must have been mislabeled,
Oh,
is what she said. Anyway, so I got the contract. I went right down to Dr. John's office. I got him to sign it. I wrote it out. And then I went right back up and handed it in. And okay, so what the girl had said when she handed it over was, okay, so you get your faculty member to sign this and then bring it back up to us and we'll give you an ad code. I was like, ad code for what? She's like, oh, you need to have an ad code for a class in order to graduate. I was like, what class? She's just, it just goes along with the project. You need
If
to,
that were true, would you not have heard of that before?
well, the thing
If
is, it's
this
on the
is something,
transcript,
like if this is
but it
something you
doesn't,
need to graduate, you would have already had it.
why hasn't anybody told me this? This is what I'm so frustrated about because I feel like at every step they're like, oh, but have you done this yet? I'm like, no, but where in the hell would I have heard to do that?
Right.
Because it's not on, like, it has the research project thing listed on my transcript,
Uh-huh.
and in one of, like, hidden in the paragraph is the class like 492.
Uh-huh.
So granted, maybe I could have just like read closer, but it's, I don't know,
If it
I
was
couldn't
really
see
that
it.
important, you'd think they would emphasize it more
You
than
think
just
they would
having
have
like
emphasized
one
it.
sentence about it. Yeah.
Exactly. And so she's like, okay, I turned it back in and I was like, okay, so what do I do with the ad code? And she's like, okay, so the lady's out of town, the lady who does the ad code, she's out of town, but when she gets back, I'll have her email you the code. And so I waited a week
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, still haven't gotten an ad code. I'll just go back into the office, now my least favorite place in the world, and say, hello, please can I have the ad code? And I'm not exaggerating. So I went in there after my morning class. We got out at like 10:30, and I was in there until like 11:15. I
Uh-huh.
was, it's just the same bullshit that I've already told you. The, the frustrating thing this time though is because, so hold on.
So frustrating you can't even speak.
No, I can't. I'm livid. Focus. Yes, perfect.
Okay,
Okay,
yeah.
so here's the door to the office. Here's
Yes.
me. This is
Okay.
the reception desk. This is the
Uh-huh.
girl. So I would ask her a question and see, she'd go to the lady's office,
Uh-huh.
open door, and
And
ask her the
ask.
question. And the lady would say, well, has she done this? And she'd come out and say, have you done this? And I'd say, nope, I haven't done that. Don't know what that is. Go back in, say, but she's done this. She's
So
like, well, which class is she signing up for? Like, and it
if
got
the woman in
comical.
the office is available to talk, why would you not just go
Why
back and
didn't
ask her the
she?
questions?
Why wouldn't they let me go back and talk to her, or why didn't she come out? Like,
Yeah.
it was genuinely got so, if I wasn't mad I would have been laughing because it was just, this went on, and I'm not kidding, for a half an hour. I would talk to the receptionist, who would then talk to the professor, who would then talk to the receptionist, who would then bring the message back to me. It's the world's worst game of telephone. And every
Yeah,
single
instead
time
of
she's
her
like,
just saying
ask
like,
me a
"Oh, she's
question,
available if you want to just go ask her." Like,
come on in.
yeah.
What? Like, why not? I don't understand. It was,
Stupid.
the whole situation was so out of my mind stupid.
Yeah,
It was
that's
awful.
insane. That's so
For
dumb.
a half an hour.
It's the stupidest thing in the world.
I'm so,
They like, for some reason, just really love like actively antagonizing their students.
they really
It
do.
doesn't make any sense.
She, like, they kept asking me if I was doing something with this one professor. And she's like, well, she has to be doing something with that one professor. I'm like, if this is if this is a requirement for me to be able to graduate, and Kevin John immediately knew what I was talking about, then how is this so complicated? How is it that I say I'm doing comm studies and I need to do either like a research thing with the professor or a mentored project, and
Right.
they don't immediately know what I'm saying? Are so few people graduating in comm studies that this is just so complicated, so over their heads? There's no way
And
they're going to be
again,
able to
it's
grasp
like
it?
if they rotate like students to work like in the office, this should be part of the job training. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it shouldn't be so complicated that people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. You should come in another day when a different student is working because they might know.
And then
Like
explain it all from the top. Yeah, like if it's
that's
that
so
important,
dumb,
then
dude.
you should explain it to your staff. And if
Yeah,
it's so unimportant that your staff need not know about it, then why am I bothering with it to graduate? Why do I
right,
need it?
right.
If clearly it doesn't matter all that much. I'm so mad. I'm really frustrated. Like, and the thing is, none of this is on their website.
No, of
Everything
course
I've
not. That would
learned
be too
is word of
easy.
mouth. No, they're
That's
students.
ironic. Like you're in communications and you don't know how to
Uh-huh.
like easily communicate these things to people.
Funny, huh? I kind of like I didn't believe that it was really happening at the time. I thought, surely I'm dreaming. Surely I will wake up.
Right. From this hell.
This awful loop of going from Dr. Kevin John's office on the second floor up to the comms office on the third, back down to the second to the advisor, up to the third, and just on and on into eternity. And
Yeah.
I will never rest.
That's like so obnoxious.
Yeah, so much. Ooh, my mommy's calling. Can I?
Oh. You're not allowed
Let's
to
see.
answer it. We're actually really busy right now.
Fine.
Now we
This
go
is
back
on
to sitting in
your shoulders.
silence.
Well, I think I'm gonna let you go because I'm gonna get to work by 2.
Okay, sounds good. I have all my things done anyway, so
Yay!
we'll be
I
good.
don't have them cut out or anything, but I have the jar. I'm gonna put them in.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you have a container?
Um, not on me, not with me
Hmm.
right now.
Interesting.
Sure, I have one.
I wonder if I'm. Does it mean I'm better than you?
No, because what use is the container that isn't holding anything? Embarrassing.
We're gonna. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna gift of the Magi ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sell my jar for paper to put in your container, and you're gonna sell your papers. Give me a jar. Oh,
That's
wonderful.
dumb.
Yeah.
Well, well, go get to work. Have a nice
Okay.
life. I'll see you later.
You as well. So
Thank you.
long.
Goodbye.